Finally tonight, it's the story of a rescue. Let's set the scene. We go to the Los Angeles River. Firefighters are called in when a dog was swept away by storm waters. The dog was caught in the current. This all happened early this morning. It took a couple of hours for rescue crews to reach the dog. Eventually, that worker was lowered into the river. He grabbed the dog taken to the veterinarian. He's doing all right. The vet says he should be just fine. What a day, though.
Tough guy there.
Oh, he did just fine. They're good swimmers, you see that?
And he's a Beaver fan, too, I guess.
Ah, that takes care of that.
We love him then. Thanks for joining us. Have a great night.
Good night.
Fisher Broadcasting.
June 2nd, 1999.
I just came to grips with the fact that this is the end of my life.
It's every passenger's nightmare.
And all I remember is the stewardess screaming, "Brace yourself."
And things got worse.
Getting out was just a mad dash to get out. It was like if someone yelled fire in a theater. Every man for himself.
We just had to rip open the back end of the plane and climb out.
As the survivors waited for assistance.
There was just so much commotion going on. I mean, you know, everybody was more or less in shock.
And loved ones watched and waited from a distance.
I have the right to know what's going on. These people have the right, okay? I need some names, okay, sir?
I was scared. I was just upset thinking he might not be here anymore.
Tonight, survivor stories. The crash of American Airlines Flight 1420. From ABC News, this is Nightline. Reporting from Washington, Ted Koppel. The crew had already put in more than an 8-hour shift when bad weather and a change of equipment at Dallas-Fort Worth delayed the departure of American Airlines Flight 1420 by another 2 hours. By the time the flight was over its ultimate destination, the airport at Little Rock, Arkansas, just about an hour from this time last night, the pilot and co-pilot were coming to the end of a 13-and-a-half-hour day. There was a lot of turbulence, and Captain Richard Bushman flipped on the intercom to remind the passengers to fasten their seatbelts securely. Just prior to landing, winds were howling around the airport at 50 miles an hour, with gusts peaking at 75 miles an hour. The McDonnell Douglas Super 82, which is American Airlines' most reliable workhorse, had 139 passengers and a crew of 6 on board. There were thunderstorms and lightning, and the runway was slick with rain and hail when Flight 1420 put down. Some of the survivors say that the wheels didn't seem to grip. In any event, the plane veered off the runway and smashed into a metal tower, breaking into 3 parts. 9 people, including Captain Bushman, were killed. 83 others were injured. It'll be a long time before the investigation is complete, but there are a lot of people who experienced a piece of the nightmare, and we'll be talking to some of them tonight. First, here's Nightline correspondent Dave Marish.
When an airplane crashes, 4 elements are immediately put under investigation. The weather at the time of the crash, the terrain where the plane came down, the condition of the plane, and the actions of the flight crew.
It is not looking too terribly good right now. We've got a number of thunderstorms that are quite strong in the state.
The weather last night in Little Rock and much of mid-America was ugly and violent, but neither unusual nor unpredictable. What was not predicted was this: the instant intersection of weather and airplane at runway 4R of Little Rock Airport.
The aircraft arrived at about the time the first leading edge of the thunderstorm line arrived at the airport.
The plane touched down but hardly seemed to slow at all, skidding off the runway to the left, then back onto the tarmac, then careening off the end of the runway, spinning as it hit a light stanchion and tore apart in at least 3 pieces.
The terrain around Little Rock Airport is not regarded as particularly troublesome, but there are questions tonight about the runway.
Now, there are 2 things that you look for, and the safety board will
One is what's called crowning, and that is to have kind of a peak in the middle of the runway so that the water will flow off to the sides immediately. The second thing is there can be mechanisms, sand areas, things that will slow down an aircraft at the end of a runway or the runway overrun.
There seem to be fewer questions about the airplane itself.
The aircraft involved was a McDonnell Douglas Super 80, which had an excellent safety record with us and with other airlines around the world.
Our own check of FAA accident and service difficulty reports confirms Baker's account. For the past 11 years, the records show nothing more serious than a few blown switches or broken latches, all easily repaired. The pilot in charge of last night's flight, Richard Bushman, also had an outstanding record.
The captain of Flight 1420 has been a pilot for American Airlines since 1979 and had logged more than 9,600 total hours at American Airlines, including more than 5,500 hours as an MD-80 captain.
Which leaves the big question. Why did an experienced pilot like Captain Bushman try to land in such bad weather? Because everyone agrees that decision was his. And it seems clear that weather watchers in Little Rock knew there were big storms in the area.
We were getting reports of 60-mile-an-hour winds from stations, including the office here, probably 10 minutes or longer before the aircraft touched down. You would characterize the gust, if you're looking out your front window, as probably small trees are really leaning into the wind pretty heavily. Large trees would be in active motion.
If someone informed me that there were 50-knot gusts of wind at the airport that I was preparing to land at, I would leave town.
So why didn't pilot Bushman? Was he never properly informed by the Little Rock Tower of the danger he was flying into? Or was it this very human possibility cited by several people? Former Transportation Department Inspector General Mary Schiavo calls it get-there-itis.
It's the last flight of the day. You want to get out. You want to get home. You know the passengers want to be delivered where they want to go. And former American Airlines Chairman Bob Crandall probably said it best himself. What airlines today are selling is a seat in time, at a time when passengers want to go, to arrival at a time when they want to be. That's what they're selling, is time. And if you don't deliver the time, there's tremendous crush.
Was it as simple as that? As former NTSB investigator Ira Furman points out, in this case, there is a good chance of an answer.
In this case, of course, the first officer has survived, so whatever thought patterns that were going on in that cockpit, expressed and unexpressed, I would hope he would be able to share with the investigators.
Investigators have already begun examining the crashed plane's cockpit voice and flight data recorders, and we're told they're getting a lot of good information, which they should begin sharing with the public in the days and weeks to come. I'm Dave Marish for Nightline in Washington.
In a moment, stories from Flight 1420, an interview I did a couple of hours ago with a father and son who sat in first class across the aisle from rows of passengers who disappeared, and a recent college graduate just 2 weeks from his wedding who escaped from the coach section.
This is ABC News Nightline, brought to you by Pepsid AC Acid Controller.
Hey, Dad, what are you doing up?
Reliving your mother's stuffed peppers.
Hartford again, huh? What are you taking?
Tums, and I'm back for more.
You still taking that stuff? Look, Dad, take a Pepsid AC. One tiny pill controls acid all night.
So I can get some sleep.
Next time, take one before dinner, and you can stop heartburn before it starts.
Before it starts?
You don't see me suffering, do you?
What are you guys doing now?
Nothing, dear. We were talking about your peppers.
Peppers, yeah.
I have some in the fridge.
You can sleep heartburn-free with Pepsid AC.
There comes a point when one more sequin will ruin the dress. When one more brushstroke will spoil the painting. There comes a point when anything more is simply more. Park Avenue by Buick. Power, comfort, unparalleled elegance. And now, Park Avenue is even more rewarding. It's luxury, pure and simple.
Thursday, John Stossel walks on fire, braves a voodoo curse, and shows you the tricks of the supernatural trade. Test your power of belief with John Stossel, Thursday.
At American Tourister, we've always subjected our luggage to some pretty harsh treatment. So we took it to Islands of Adventure at Universal Studios Escape in Orlando, where it met Rex. American Tourister. Tough luggage for a tough world.
First, there was Chevy Suburban. Then came Lincoln, Lexus, Mercedes, and the others. And in the end, the one that started it all is still the one that tows the most, holds the most, and does the most. Chevy Suburban, like a rock.
And joining us now from Little Rock, Richard Clam and his son Jason, who were sitting in the front row of first class on Flight 1420, across the aisle from passengers who were ripped from the plane during the crash landing. And at our Little Rock affiliate, KATV, Tad Harden, who was sitting in coach, returning from performances in Europe with his college choral group. Mr. Clam, tell me, if you would, what you remember as being the last thing that the pilot said to you, and if you can, tell me what his tone of voice was, if you remember.
Okay, I remember that after we had left Dallas en route to Little Rock, I remember that the pilot, after we left Dallas, had told us that they were having light rain showers in Little Rock, and it kind of gave the indication that the weather was just rainy, but nothing real serious. As we got closer to Little Rock, we could look out the airplane, out the windows, and we could see flashes of lightning, and that there was a big thunderstorm ahead of us. But up until just before the plane crashed, the pilot finally came on, and in a very calm voice, he told everybody to make sure their seat belts were fastened, and told the stewardess to sit down in preparation for landing. There was no kind of danger or alarm in his voice whatsoever.
But did there seem to be anything about this flight that caused you to be concerned?
Yes, the thing that concerned me most about this flight was the fact that after we began our descent into the Little Rock area, I noticed that the bumpiness of the plane was more than I'd ever experienced before, and I think it was because of the thunderstorm, the turbulent conditions it was flying into. When it finally got into the area where it was close to being able to land, it seemed like it circled once or twice around the Little Rock airfield before it finally came in, and I knew something was wrong when we hit the runway, and there was a big, loud thump, and the plane went up and came down with another thump, and it seemed like the plane never could really touch and grip the ground. It just seemed like it kind of ricocheted down the runway all the way till the time it finally went off the runway and crashed.
Now, Jason, if you would pick up more or less at that same moment, in other words, after that first bump on the runway, describe for me what happened as you saw it and as you experienced it.
Well, when we hit the first bump on the runway, I knew right then. I knew something was wrong. There was no doubt in my mind. And then we were coming back down, and as we landed from the first bump, we kind of swerved a little to the right, and it seemed like the pilot tried to put his brakes on real quick, and doing that, he seemed like he wanted to go to the left a little bit, and I think what happened from there was the wind speed was so strong that it kind of pushed us as he was turning left, and that I think that may have put us off the track.
Now, Tad Harden, if you'd pick it up from there, shortly thereafter, the plane smashed into that light stanchion. What do you remember about that?
Well, that was the first moment that I realized that we were no longer on the runway, that we had crashed into something, and we were actually on some kind of uneven terrain, and that's when we started smelling some fumes. We were scraping the ground, and we didn't really know what was going on. We knew we were turning, and later found out that crashing into that tower was what saved us from not going directly into the river.
But what was it that happened immediately after you crashed into that tower? The plane, as we now know, broke into basically 3 sections. What could you see from where you were?
The section I was in continued to turn and stopped rather quickly, and all I could see at the front of my section was a group of large flames to my left, where the left wing had used to be, and then I saw people immediately getting up to open the emergency exits over the wings.
Now, who was that? Was that passengers? Was that members of the crew?
It was passengers.
And did there seem to be, I mean, I would imagine that there was some sort of panic on the plane, or at least people exceedingly concerned.
There was a lot of noise, a lot of people shouting. It was difficult to ascertain whether we were hearing flight attendants or passengers. But as far as movement, everyone in my section tended to do things very logically. There was not a lot of chaos as far as that was concerned. We began to get out row by row in a fairly orderly fashion, even though it was rather noisy.
Mr. Clam, it must have been much more nightmarish where you were, because as I said in the introduction, an entire row of passengers was lost. Were you aware of that right away?
No, not really. What happened was after the plane had gone out of control and I knew that we were off of the runway, I looked out the window and I could see grass going by the window where once before pavement was going by. And about that time, I lowered my head, and all I remember was I just felt a tremendous jolt or an impact, and I think I was knocked unconscious for about 30 seconds. And when I came to, there's about 30 seconds I can't account for, so I must have been out cold for a little while. I looked over to my left, and all I saw was the side of the fuselage in first class was completely open, and I saw my son Jason, who apparently had gotten up and gotten out of the aircraft, and the passengers that were sitting over on the left seats were no longer there. The seats weren't even there. So I knew that at that time I needed to get out of there just as quickly as I could, and my son told me to get out of there because he was afraid there might be an explosion.
Now, Jason, can you fill in that gap where your dad was unconscious? What happened?
Well, once the plane stopped, I tried to get off the plane as quick as I could because there was a fire about 10 rows behind me, and I was afraid. Of course, I thought there might have been an explosion because it seemed like the fire was rising pretty quick and it was going back towards the engine area. So, I just completely didn't even mess with getting my luggage off the rack above me. So I just got off the plane, and my dad was kind of in a gaze. I had to keep yelling for him, like, Dad, come on, let's get away from this plane. It's gonna blow. We need to hurry. And so from there, he followed me out towards the river.
All right, we'll pick up with the story in just a moment, but we have to take a short break. Back in a moment.
One Seafoam bridesmaid dress, $200. Seafoam dyed shoes, $90. Manicure in Seafoam, $11. A friend worth wearing Seafoam for, priceless. There are some things money can't buy. For everything else, there's MasterCard. Accepted all over. Available in gold and platinum.
I worry too much. Merging 2 bank networks, but it wasn't a problem. AT&T nailed that. They really helped us connect our customers, trading partners, and everyone's together in real time. Now we can give service on demand. Very cool. Our revenue is going to go sky high. I like worrying about that.
AT&T Net.working to make your business succeed.
For those smokers who are ready to quit, Nicorette introduces a breath of fresh air. New mint-flavored Nicorette gum. The same craving-fighting power of Nicorette and the flavor of mint. Nicorette helps you control your cravings so you can break free from smoking. And now you can choose your flavor. Now isn't that a breath of fresh air?
Nicorette helps you fight your cravings, your habit, your way.
You can do it. Nicorette can help.
Coming up, Boy Scouts.
So you didn't last as a Boy Scout, right?
No, the kids peed on my head.
Politically Incorrect with Bill Moss coming up.
After 100 years, this landmark building is coming down. And the countdown.
Only US West Advanced PCS lets you use your office number as your wireless number.
Yeah, foreman's office.
Hey, glad you're at your desk. Just wanted to say good luck at the 510 building. 3, 2, stop!
Because when you really need to stay in touch, the simpler, the better. Take your office number with you. Only with US West. Life's better here.
I think I just had a wake-up call. And it was disguised as a car. And it was screaming at me not to get too comfortable and fall asleep and miss my life.
And back once again with Richard and Jason Clam and Tad Harden, all survivors of Flight 1420. Jason, I want to come back to you for a moment because while your dad was out, I mean, he was unconscious, he did not see what happened to that row of passengers on the other side of the aisle from you. Could you see it? What did happen to them?
Yes, I saw everything that happened. While the plane was going towards its left, I think when the wind picked it up and took it off the track, all of a sudden a huge chunk in the left part of the first class area just came out of the plane, and that took with it the passengers. I believe it could have been all the rows on that left side of the first class.
Now, I assume those are the people then who were killed.
I don't know. I hope not, but I don't know.
Tad Harden, you were talking before about how relatively well organized everything seemed to be back where you were sitting. People were helping one another?
Yes, sir. Quite a few of us were in a group together traveling, and we were all seated together, so we knew each other. And the few people that we did not know with us, we all worked together as quickly as possible to
Talk about that. How did people help one another?
Our choir director was the first one up, and he was in the emergency exit and opened the door on the right side while the others were being opened on the left side. And then he motioned people with his voice to keep coming, and just row by row filed off. And we were able on the right side to jump directly onto the wing and get to safety. The left side was, as I understand it, much more difficult. The wing was not there to jump to. They had to jump directly to the ground and actually go through a bit of the flames.
Mr. Clam, how long was it before there was any help from fire department, police, before any authorities came to the scene?
Okay, after my son and I got together, after I got out of the aircraft, we proceeded, along with several other people, to an area that was probably about 200 yards away. It probably took us about 5 to 8 minutes to get over there. We had to walk through some water, which is probably about an ankle deep, and I didn't realize that we were very close to the Arkansas River. But as far as the time limit, the time span from the time that the first help arrived, I estimate somewhere between 30 and 35, maybe 40 minutes before the first fire trucks rolled in, and they began spraying some kind of flame retardant on the aircraft to put out the flames, and following that came ambulances. But it was probably anywhere from 35 to 40 minutes.
Do you have any idea why it took so long?
Well, I was thinking that in my own mind that here it was midnight in Little Rock, and nobody's expecting an airplane to crash, so it probably takes time to of course the plane was actually out of view for a while from the airport. You couldn't even see it because it's kind of on the side. But I know one of the passengers happened to have a cellular phone, and after he had kind of got control of his emotions and everything, he decided to call 911, and that may have been that might have helped get some of the rescue efforts in motion.
Jason, talk about the weather conditions there at that time. It must have been pretty awful, huh?
Yeah, they were pretty bad. Well, when we were walking, once we got rested in our group, we all huddled together. There was about a dozen in our group to keep warm. But it was raining. It was raining very hard, and it was hailing. I would say extremely hard. The hail was about the size of a marble, maybe just a tad smaller. But there was also lightning around us, about, I would say, a quarter of a mile away. Because when it struck, you know, usually when lightning's far away, it strikes and it takes a period of time before you hear it. But this lightning would strike, and then all of a sudden you would hear the thunder.
Tad Harden, there have been stories of people who actually went back into the plane to try to get others out and to help others out. Did you personally witness any of that?
It was difficult to see, but a few of the ones in my group did go back in, especially through the back, to help other people that were having difficulty, such as elderly couples.
When you say elderly couples, I'm trying to get a sense of how difficult it would have been to get out of that plane. I mean, there is smoke, it's dark, it's thundering and lightning and hailing outside, a lot of people yelling at each other. Just give me a sense of how tough it must have been for some of those older people to get oriented and to get out.
They pretty much, some of them had to trust us completely. They couldn't see. We had a hard enough time seeing, and we were just guiding them by their hands. Some of them just as far away from the plane and from the smoke as we could get them.
By and large, it sounds to me as though you feel everyone on the plane acted about as well as they could possibly have acted.
I don't see how we could have expected anything better. Some people did go into shock, but not until, the ones I witnessed, not until after we had deplaned.
Well, Tad Harden, Richard Clam, Jason Clam, thank you all very much. I'm just so glad that you're well enough that you're able to stand here and talk to us tonight, and I really appreciate you taking the time to come.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll be back in a moment.
Remember life in the fast lane?
I do.
First you meet, then you get married, and things slow down.
Yeah, right.
To help you keep up, drive the supercharged Regal GS Sport Sedan. Plenty of room, standard traction control, and the most power in its class. And now, Regal comes with something that'll make it even easier to drive. Regal by Buick, official car of the supercharged family.
Need brakes? Now during the Midas $40 lifetime brakes rebate, save $20 per axle or $40 for your whole car. Lifetime guaranteed $40 in savings right now. Go safely. Go Midas.
2 words, hot stock, perfect for us. You get a sexy portfolio that'll make you rich. Me, a small commission. Trust me, I'm only here to make you money.
Before you go here, go here. Whether you're tracking your own stocks or the market, at go.com, you're in charge.
Your eyes are tearing. It's hard to focus. It's not a mother-daughter thing. It's allergy season. There's something you can take. Helps you feel better without putting you to sleep. It's Allegra. Only Allegra has fexofenadine. It really works. For people 12 and over, ask your doctor or pharmacist for more information. Side effects may include drowsiness, cold or flu, nausea, or menstrual pain, and are low. Allegra, so you can enjoy the world around you.
Tired of working for others? Tired of the stock market's roller coaster ride? Ever dreamed of owning your own business? Then take the first step this weekend. See national franchise companies and part-time at-home business opportunities.
Having your own business is where I think most people really want to be.
There's nothing like being your own boss.
Start your own business. Visit the Franchise Show
This Saturday and Sunday at the Oregon Convention Center, Hall C, Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard.
There are a lot of used cars to choose from, but Honda certified used cars come with a factory warranty and have passed a rigorous 150-point inspection. So you'll almost never find a Honda put out to pasture. Now get special 5.9% APR financing for up to 60 months on all Honda certified used Accords and Civics.
Tomorrow on Good Morning America, you'll get the very latest on the investigation into the crash of American Airlines Flight 1420. That's our report for tonight. I'm Ted Koppel in Washington. For all of us here at ABC News, good.
Nightline is always on with abcnews.com. Now part of the Go Network.
Nightline has been a presentation of ABC News. More Americans get their news from ABC News than from any other source. abcnews.com, now a part of the Go